You could be eating the best diet in the world, you could be taking the best supplements and eating the best organic foods in the world, but if you are in a constant state of fight or flight, in survival, your body is not in homeostasis. And if you are not in homeostasis, your body is simply not going to repair and rejuvenate. That is why mindset is so important.
Okay, let's just start. Welcome to a new episode of the Bridging Podcast.
Tomorrow is going to happen whatever we do. Is it better to go into tomorrow trusting a voice, a practice, process, a way forward? Or is it better to go into tomorrow filled with fear and not believing the things that have gotten you here so far?
Create a new reality. I close my eyes and I will be there. I will dream it. Welcome everyone on the new episode of the Bridging Podcast. The Bridging Podcast is here for you to bring you on a bridge where you'll learn, practice, evolve and transform. And I'm here today together with Paula Benedi. Paula Benedi, after graduating from law school, she realized that her passion lay elsewhere and she wanted to help people in different ways. So she started studying natural health. She's a qualified integrative health practitioner with key expertise in functional lab testing and naturopathic nutrition and medicine. Her services have already helped hundreds of people globally overcome their health battles, including mental health disorders, digestive issues, skin conditions, autoimmune issues, infertility, and more. She says that there are 3 building blocks to live healthy and a happy life. These are nutrition, knowledge, and mindsets. Welcome, Paula.
Thank you so much, Özlem. I'm so excited to have a conversation with you today.
It's so nice to have you here today. I was looking forward to this so much. So you have studied law, you gave all your energy. It is a difficult study. You did a lot of things and you graduated. And after you graduated, you decided to become an integrative health practitioner. Why was that? Why did you come to this decision?
That's right. Well, when I moved to London and I started studying law, I started to experience a lot of different symptoms. And so these were symptoms that my conventional doctors really didn't have the answers to. And that ranged between skin issues. So I had cystic acne, major eczema, so a lot of skin rashes around my body, hair loss. My digestive system was completely off. I used to have severe bloating and gas and just so many symptoms, neurological symptoms. My skin was extremely dry, my lips were extremely chapped, and just a bunch of unexplained symptoms that I would go to my doctor, and my doctor would just give me a pill or a cream that I knew was not really getting to the root cause of the situation. Obviously, it took me a long time to understand that all of these symptoms have a root cause. If you have a skin rash, it's just your body screaming out for help. There is something going on at an underlying root cause level. It could be a mindset issue, but it could be a physiological issue as well, right? So it could be gut balances and so many things. And at that point, I didn't really know. But slowly, after not really getting my answers from my doctors, I started to see natural health practitioners, and I went to see nutritionists, and um, I saw a lot of practitioners in different fields of natural medicine, right? But no one really had all of the answers that I was looking for. I was getting better a little bit every day through certain lifestyle changes, diet changes, certain supplements, but I didn't fully heal. And so, out of desperation, I just decided to do my own research and I started to study by myself. And I slowly started to put all of the pieces together and I slowly started to heal. And that is when I discovered that I had this incredible passion for natural health. And that is when I became a certified integrative health practitioner, because I was like, okay, if I went through all of this, I'm sure there are so many people that are going through the exact same thing and they don't even know that they can actually heal from this and they can heal properly in natural medicine. And that is what I've been doing since then, and I dedicated my life to it, and I'm loving it. I wake up every day doing something that I love, and it's something that I never thought we could do, make money from something that you actually love. I thought that work had to be super boring
Mhm.
and so tough, but no, it doesn't have to be like that. You can actually love what you do.
So actually, sometimes desperation is a good place to be, right? Not at that moment of time when you feel desperate, you're like, hey, I want to get out of this situation. But you really felt desperation after you got all these medicine from modern medicine, from the doctors, like, hey, this will help you to cure your health conditions. But it did not help. You started going to all these different natural practitioners, and then you became one.
Exactly, that's exactly it.
So, you are now an integrative health practitioner, and you say like there are three building blocks to live a happy and healthy life. These are nutrition, knowledge, and mindset. And you say also, right, it's very important to combine these three. Before we combine these three, actually, can you just define them for us? What do they all mean?
Yeah, so when it comes to nutrition, it's not as simple as just putting food inside your body. I see food as information, and it's so for me, nutrition really means obtaining foods that support health and growth, nourishment in the body. And what a lot of people don't understand is that every single molecule of food that you put in your body actually triggers a genetic disposition, right? It triggers something, it's information, and it's not just energy. And that's why choosing the foods that you put in your body is you must do it in a very careful manner. You must choose the foods that you put in your body very wisely. And that is how I see nutrition. When it comes to learn, I incorporate a lot of learning in Synergize in my own brand because I know that if people understand why they are doing certain things and the likelihood of them actually implementing something in their life, whether that's a diet change or a supplement or a lifestyle, whatever it is, it's so much higher. Because if you don't understand why you're not doing something, why you're doing something, if you don't understand why you're doing something, then the likelihood of you actually maintaining that, it's not very high. It's like what Dr. Joe Dispenza says, when you put meaning and purpose into something, then that's a completely different game, right? And so for me, I'm always focusing on how can I educate my client or how can I educate my follower, whatever it is, through so many different avenues as to why they need to do this. And then when it comes to
So they need to
mindset,
understand actually the reason of the actions they are taking to become healthier.
exactly. And then when it comes to mindset, there, because I deal with a lot of complex health issues and a lot of symptoms, and people really follow my work because they either want to optimize their health, they already feel great and they just want to optimize and become the healthiest version of themselves, or people that are really suffering from symptoms and they are just as desperate as I was, years ago. And so there is no health issue that doesn't have an emotional element to it.
So
And
are
that
you
is very
saying actually the emotions that we are experiencing make you feel good or actually might make you sick?
exactly, that's exactly it. And that is a very important component in natural health. So, so, so important. And when I'm working with a client, as I said, I am an integrative health practitioner. So I don't only focus on diet and supplements. I'm really emphasizing here the importance of mindset. And some people will choose meditation, some people choose other ways to deal with stress or to work on their mindset. Some people don't like meditation, and that's fine as well, right? So my job is to give them options, but to really emphasize this to them, because I know that if they don't work on the mindset, they're just not going to get the result that they're looking for.
So we will actually dive deeper into the nutrition, knowledge, and mindset part. But why is it so important that we actually have a combination of these three? So it's not only the mindset, it's not only the nutrition, knowing like what you put in your body that makes you sick or not sick, and and not only knowing it. Like, why do we need all these three?
Because they work synergistically with each other, right? And so you could be eating the best diet in the world and you could be taking the best supplements and eating the best organic foods in the world, but if you are in a constant state of fight or flight, in
Mm-hmm.
survival, your body is not in homeostasis. And if you are not in homeostasis, your body is simply not going to repair and rejuvenate. And so that is why mindset is so important. However, if you just focus on mindset and you forget that there are certain things that you can consume and you're being exposed to, and there are so many toxins that we're now being exposed to, they actually go inside the body, whether it is through cosmetics. If you're not using natural cosmetics, they are being absorbed to the pores in the skin, or whether you're consuming foods that are not organic, those are loaded with pesticides. Whether you're consuming medications, those needs to be synthesized by the liver, and there are so many things that we're exposed to on a daily basis. And so,
Like
yes,
fluoride that we actually use when we brush our teeth. I mean, it can have actually,
absolutely, the
it
toothpaste that
can
we're
do a lot
using.
of things to your brain, as we have
Yes,
both learned.
that's exactly right. And so it's just so important to understand that you have to also make changes in your diet, in your lifestyle. You need to reduce your exposure to these toxins, because mindset alone, well, it's difficult to say this after going to Dr. Joe's Dispenza retreats, right? So energy mindset is the most important element. However, you're gonna have to work so hard on your mindset to be able to fully heal without making the changes in your
Yeah.
lifestyle. And then learning, as I mentioned, you need to understand why you're making these changes, because otherwise you're not going to be consistent.
Yeah, but actually, I would say, I am not you, and I don't own Synergize, and I don't do the beautiful work that you are doing. But I would say, like, the fundament would be maybe the mindset. If I would believe, for example, I nourish my body, I am healthy, then automatically I don't feel, if I am in that state of being, when I would go to the grocery store, I would just think like, oh, should I take the chips here, or should I take the organic fruit or the organic vegetable? Because I already feel I'm a healthy person. I nourish my body with healthy foods. I mean, that mindset will actually create a vibration, a frequency, and everything that matches that frequency will come to me. I would say.
Absolutely. And it's not only that, it's also changing your identity, because when you start saying those powerful affirmations, on a subconscious level, you are changing your identity and you will automatically make healthier choices.
Yes, very, very, very nice. Okay, let's just start with nutrition then. So, what is the base of good nutrition for us? We all know, like the fruits, vegetables, all these things and all, but how do we really listen to our body and look after our body that we take in good, nutritious food?
I think the foundation is first removing, right? So it's
Mm.
not about adding more organic foods or adding more vegetables or more fruits. How about removing first the processed food, removing the processed sugar, the refined flours? So that meaning white pasta, white bread, all of those processed foods are loaded with refined flours that are so inflammatory for your body. I am a big proponent of removing dairy and gluten from the diet, just because I've done my research and
And
there's just,
why can you explain us dairy and gluten? Why
yeah.
removing these two?
So dairy is a highly acidic food. And so health really is really comes down to how acidic or alkaline is your body really. We know that cancer cells thrive in an acidic environment, and that's why mindset is very important as well in cancer, because mindset alone can actually affect the pH of your body. And so really we need to try and focus on reducing the acidity in our body and increasing that pH to make it more alkaline. And so when you consume something like dairy, it actually creates a very acidic environment in your body. So that's one of the factors as to why I'm not a proponent of dairy. Another reason as to why I don't like dairy is because especially cow's dairy has a the protein is just very, very large, and the protein is very difficult to digest. And because it's so difficult to digest, it actually ferments. And there's so much research that has shown that this protein that actually ferments can lead to so many things, and a lot of inflammatory conditions, a lot of inflammatory health issues. And I've seen it in my own practice as well. So not only from research, but I've seen it that it just does not work in my practice. And so if someone is consuming dairy on an everyday basis, they might not actually notice, and they might say, "Oh, I don't actually react to dairy. I have milk, yogurt, cheese, and I feel perfectly fine afterwards." But what I'm talking about here really is the reactions that can happen up to 3 days later. This is an IgG food sensitivity, meaning that you can have dairy today and you might experience a symptom 3 days later. And you can actually run a simple at home lab test that looks at your food sensitivities. So, you don't have to believe me, you can actually run this test yourself to see that.
I
And
actually believe you by experience because, in the past when I was eating it, I was bloated immediately. Then I thought I'm over it, but after 2, 3 days, after I eat dairy and gluten, by the way, for me the same, then I just get bloated and I automatically, with my genes, I know like the button does not really close anymore. I'm like, what did I eat? Not that much. But I
yeah, but
ate a certain
as I
food.
said, some people don't react immediately. Some people react afterwards, right? And trust me, I love dairy. I wish it was a great food. So, but like my whole like the whole point of Synergize and my brand really is to provide unbiased information, right? And so, yes, I would love to say otherwise, but unfortunately, dairy and gluten are inflammatory foods. We know that gluten can actually lead to increased intestinal permeability, which is leaky gut, and lead to so many issues down the line. So, coming back to your question, I think we should be first focusing on removing these foods first. Once you've removed them, then we can start focusing on a whole foods diet. So any whole foods, and just making sure that your plates are just loaded with different colors. So a rainbow of brightly colored fruits and vegetables, because every single color will provide you with different vitamins and minerals. So if you consume the same color every single day, you're not getting a wide range of vitamins and minerals. So having a wide range of colors on your plate is one of the best things that you can do.
I
So
like that metaphor, rainbow, rainbow.
yeah.
I actually never knew that. I always thought like greens, 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 but sometimes I eat everyday banana instead of like different kind of fruit or same vegetable, especially during winter. But I love the rainbow idea. Okay.
Exactly, and that's why eating seasonally is so powerful, because every season you get different fruits and different vegetables, and so you're getting an array of different nutrients in your body. And so focusing on that, so focusing on the micronutrients, right, the vitamins, the minerals, antioxidants, etc., and then focusing also on the macronutrients. So it's not only about eating fruit, you need to get your protein, you need to get your fiber as well, your healthy fats, right? So healthy fats I'm talking about here, mainly the monounsaturated fats. So the best ones really is the organic extra virgin olive oil, the avocados, the olives, those are great. And then we have our protein. So obviously we have two forms of protein. We have the plant-based protein. So that could be, your beans, your chickpeas, your lentils, your tofu. Although I'm not a big proponent of going overboard with your tofu, especially for women because of hormones. So I would say if you're going to go for tofu, no more than twice per week, just because of estrogen. And then you have your animal protein as well. So you have your red meat, your chicken. Just, I'm not a big proponent of going overboard with animal protein. I would say predominantly following a plant-based diet, and occasionally having your animal protein, just making sure it's good quality. So red meat especially is the most inflammatory, just because it's higher in omega-6 and lower in omega-3s. So if you are going to do red meat, I would suggest, not more than once per week, and just making sure that it's grass-fed meat, like really good quality meat, because it will be lower in omega-6. And then chicken, making sure that it's really good quality chicken, like pasture raised as well. And then your fish, there's so many people doing salmon, but the problem is that if you're not consuming wild salmon, you're consuming farmed salmon, and so you're
Mm.
actually getting so many, omega-6, which are pro-inflammatory, and less omega-3s that are anti-inflammatory. So I would suggest, 3 meals a day, making sure that every meal is balanced, having a good amount of protein, having a good amount of fiber and healthy fats, and then just predominantly focusing on your brightly colored fruits and vegetables, mainly plant based, and a little serving of animal protein, but not going overboard with that.
Yeah. So, I hear already listener and watcher saying like, hey, these are all the nice foods that I should eat. And maybe they already have tried many things. For example, I have eaten before, like a few years ago, I was eating a lot of protein in terms of like chickpeas, lentils, beans. But what happened with my body as Özlem, I also got bloated because it was too much for my body. And when I decreased the amount of that, lentils, chickpeas, I just got a little bit better because I had to really switch to more meat. I was never really a meat eater when I was a child. And I really had to listen to my body, what I needed. What would you say, like from a personal point of view, how should individuals that are listening to this right now try these things out? Like, should they first try, like, let's eat this week only some more protein in ways of chickpeas and all, and see how my body reacts? Let's eat the other week some meat. I'm just giving examples. What would you say to that? Because there's not one frame that they can use, right? Everybody is simply different.
I agree. So I think there's no one size fits all approach. However, there is a foundation. And if you are bloating from beans, chickpeas, lentils, that means there's an underlying root cause to it. It's not the beans, chickpeas, lentils fault. It's
Oh,
probably because there's some dysbiosis in the gut. And therefore, what happens is that when you consume these foods that are very high in fiber, the bacteria in your gut just literally sits there and ferments these foods, and this can cause a lot of bloating and then gas. And so, a mistake that I see a lot of people making is, oh, this doesn't work for me. I'm just going to go on a carnivore diet. And that's why they start feeling amazing on a carnivore diet because they're like, oh, I'm not getting any bloating, I'm not getting any
same.
constipation. But the problem is that long term, that's going to create a lot of issues because a more of a carnivore diet is more inflammatory, right? As I was mentioning, it is higher in omega 6. And so my approach is really let's get to the underlying root cause. There's nothing more powerful than consuming these high fiber foods because they feed the good bacteria in the gut. If you don't consume enough fiber, you're not feeding this good bacteria in the gut. The bacteria will therefore shrink, and we know that gut health is a foundation of your health, and so you're actually causing yourself a lot of harm in the long term. So my approach is obviously start slowly, and if you feel like you are experiencing side of effects and symptoms that are not normal by introducing these healthy foods, then peel the onion, dive deeper, see what's going on, run functional medicine labs. You can figure it out, but it's not the food's fault. It's because your digestive system is not functioning as it should.
So you said with your clients, you look actually initially to the root cause in order to treat the client very well. So if I would be your client, if I come to you, what are the first things that you are doing to find the root cause in terms of nutrition?
So, if I get a client, for example, that suffers from a lot of digestive issues, because I would say that I really focus on the digestive system mainly because your digestive system is really the foundation. It's the responsible one for absorbing nutrients. But if you cannot break down foods properly to the best of your ability, you won't be able to absorb nutrients properly. And I run so many labs with clients and I see nutrient deficiencies all the time. And I'm not talking about conventional blood tests. Those are not looking deeper. Those are not looking at really your minerals, your vitamins, how well your body is nourished. And so I see nutrient deficiencies all the time. And so I know that the digestive system is not functioning properly. And so if I get a client and let's say it's a female client that it's really complaining about gas and bloating and constipation, meaning that they're not emptying their bowels every single day, because if you don't empty your bowels every day, you're actually reabsorbing the toxins back into your system. And so it's
Oh,
so important to
wow.
ensure
You're
that you're
reabsorbing the toxins back in your system.
that's right.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
And
What
that's
does
why
that do with our body if when we reabsorb these toxins? What does it do?
so it will affect everyone differently. So you can have the same underlying root cause, meaning that if, let's say that three people have constipation, but one has skin rashes, another one has acne, another one has hormonal imbalances. So it will affect people differently, right? And so that's why my job is to really, it's really being a detective. And so if a female has these issues of digestive symptoms, bloating, constipation, and then they were complaining about irregular periods or heavy periods or, acne, during their cycle at specific times on the cycle, I start to make the correlations and I'm like, okay, maybe this individual has the hormonal symptoms because they are not emptying their bowels every day, meaning that they are reabsorbing toxins back into the system, and estrogen is one of them, because our liver actually deactivates the hormone estrogen and literally throws it towards the digestive system, and then we excrete it through our bowels. But if we're not excreting it, we are reabsorbing estrogen into our system, and that can lead to so many hormonal issues, including breast cancer, because we know that one of the types of breast cancer is actually highly linked with high levels of estrogen in the body. And so you start to make these correlations, but still we don't know exactly what's going on in the digestive system. We don't know if it's candida, we don't know if it's low stomach acid, we don't know if the individual has a lack of digestive enzymes. And so what we do is we run labs, and one of my favorite labs to assess how well the digestive system is functioning is a stool test. And this is an at-home stool test. It's a very comprehensive stool test
Mhm.
that really dives in deep and looks at your microbiome, your gut flora, the different strains of bacteria, see how well you are digesting, looks at your inflammation markers. And so these are tests that unfortunately are not available with a typical conventional medicine doctor. And so,
Are they
I thought,
available online that we can buy it and do it ourselves, and then we get results that we are able to read it ourselves without any health practitioner around?
no. So that is when you would have to work with an integrative health practitioner, whether that's myself or another person that's qualified, and so they can interpret those lab test results, because there's no point of spending your money running labs,
Mm-hmm.
but then getting the results and be like, okay, what do I do now? Right? So you need to have someone that has the experience and is qualified and can read the results for you, tell you exactly what it means, and then provide a very personalized plan based on the data.
So would you say, like, based on a stool test, you could see if the liver absorbs the toxins back, which is actually maybe causing hormonal issues?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. This is so interesting. I actually want to do a topic around this in another episode. This is
I would
really,
love
really
to.
very,
I am
very
so
interesting. I'm
passionate
very
about this.
interested in this because, as a child, I had a lot of issues with the, digestive system, a lot. And no one knew what it was. It's anxiety, it's this, it's that. Anyhow, we will talk about it more later on in another episode. But I'm actually curious to the knowledge. I mean, you know a lot, Paula. I'm so impressed about the knowledge you have and also the confidence you're having about when you are helping your clients. I admire it in a way,
Thank you
really.
so much.
But we know each other now for I think the past 6 7 months, maybe even longer. We know each other longer, almost a year,
Yeah.
and and I trust you, and I know you're helping so many hundreds of people. But how about the knowledge? Like, there is so much knowledge out there nowadays. When I was a child in primary school, high school, the teacher said something, we read few books and we knew it kind of, I thought. But now there's so much information and there's so much research, and there's even like some research saying A, and the other research, a lot of research is saying no, it's not A, it's B, or it's whatever, it's C. How could we, as individuals, really trust the knowledge that we are absorbing?
Yeah, I think that is a very complex question, and so I can only try my best answering it. I think that you need to really take everything that you see and everything that you absorb in terms of information with a grain of salt. And so even if it's from someone that you trust, you need to take it with a grain of salt and do your individual research. Now, it is true that a lot of research papers nowadays are not even, you cannot even fully trust them. Why? Because they have they're biased. If you look at, for example, research papers on pharmaceuticals, they also say that they are very safe and that they provide a lot of benefits and that they help a lot of individuals. But then when you have a look at who actually paid for that research, who invested in that research, who funded that research, is the pharmaceutical industry. And so I think you need to educate yourself on how to read a research paper, see if there's any invested interest, see who's funding the research, see who's writing it, because maybe it's someone, the author is in the pharmaceutical industry as well. I'm just giving the example of the pharmaceutical
Mm-hmm,
industry,
mm-hmm.
right? And so I think you really need to do your homework. You really need to do your independent research and come with your own conclusions and try it for yourself. But the problem is as well is that there's so many people out there, a lot of influencers that promote things for the sake of gaining followers, but at the detriment of, society. For example, I was mentioning the carnivore diet. There is, I'm not gonna, name him, but there's this man that keeps promoting about the carnivore diet, and he has so many followers on social media, but he's just causing so much harm. And it's funny because he started really his brand by saying that everybody had to follow a carnivore diet with no fruits, nothing, no carbohydrates. But now he's changing his mind, and now he's saying actually you can have a little bit of honey. And then a month later he's like, oh, actually you can have a little bit of, fruits. And so it's like, if you ever come across someone that keeps changing their mind, then you really need to raise your eyebrows and be like, why is this person providing inaccurate information? So I think it's about really, you need to trust the person as well that provides the information. And that is something that I fully committed to from the start when I created Synergized. And the feedback that I always get from my community is that they trust me with their eyes closed, and I would do anything possible to maintain that. I need to ensure that everything that I do, whether that is through the formulation of my supplements, whether that is through the information that I post, my podcast, everything that I share needs to be unbiased and just the truth. Because at the end of the day, my only goal really is to help people and to help them become the healthiest version of themselves. And if that means sharing information that is not appealing, then I'm sorry, but it is what it is. And sometimes I post about certain topics that people don't really love. But guess what? That's the truth and that's the reality, and that is what I committed from the start. And so, yeah, I think taking everything with a grain of salt, doing your independent research, and really trusting the source
Mm-hmm.
of that information is really what you should do.
Yeah, really looking at different viewpoints, reading different things, doing research about the different, viewpoints, and coming to
Exactly.
your personal conclusions. And there is not really one conclusion, right? And maybe you might come to a conclusion now, today, this, you try that out, and after one, you're like, actually, this works a little bit better for me.
And it's okay. It's okay to change your
Exactly.
mind.
Yeah. So let's go a little bit to your clients, of course, without the names, but I'm so curious to learn more about what was the mindset of some of your clients before they worked with you and after they work with you.
Um, I think it really varies from person to person, but I think one of the biggest things that I see is how initially they just think that they won't be able to do it, that they won't be able to follow the program. And, in our follow up consultations, they always say, I'm so proud of myself. I actually made it through. And I started to notice that people really are stronger than they think, than they are. And so everything changes about them. Their confidence completely changes because when you show up for yourself every single day, you become a completely different person. Your confidence changes. Your identity changes. Your the way that you feel about yourself changes. And so I've seen that quite a lot in my practice, that someone says, "Oh no, I don't think I can do it. It's going to be hard." And then 3 months later, they're just a completely different person, a completely different mindset. Their lifestyle has changed. They no longer crave unhealthy foods, they just crave vegetables. They love their morning routine. They love going for their walk. They love doing their meditation. They love meal prepping. They just love everything about it because they feel so good.
They
And
love their life.
they love their life because they just feel good. Because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And you can't achieve anything. Is change your body, change your life. Because if you let's say if you don't have energy throughout the day, you're waking up completely fatigued, low mood, you're extremely lethargic, you can't sleep at night, you have insomnia, then you don't feel motivated and ambitious and driven, to achieve those goals. And so when you start changing your body, you start changing the terrain, the base of everything, and everything in life becomes just so attainable.
Yeah, super nice. Good to hear this. Amazing. So, a lot of people want to transform their life into a more healthier, happier life. Some people don't. They are just satisfied where they are, which is also okay.
Yeah.
But if we want transformation, what are some of the emotions that we need to go through? Or do we need to go through some of pain? I would always give as an example, like when a mom needs to give labor, it hurts. I've never given labor, but it hurts. I know it from my own mom, from my family members. I mean, but then a child is born, a baby is born. But first, she needed to go through pain. So, what about in the transformation towards a more happier and healthier life? What kind of emotions do we all need to go through?
I think it really depends as well from person to person because, as I mentioned, the underlying root causes to certain health issues will be different, right? Some people will have traumas as the underlying root cause of their health issues, and it's basically your body pushing these traumas and causing these health conditions. But others might have actual physiological imbalances in the body. So I think it's about looking again at the underlying root cause and looking at whatever you've been suppressing your entire life, right? And so let's take the example of weight gain. So if someone is on a weight loss protocol, there are a lot of things that you need to do, right? First of all, you need to make sure the basics that you're not overeating and that you're not eating just junk food, processed food, inflammatory food, etc. However, it's not only about calories in and calories out. You also need to ensure that your hormones are balanced, that your thyroid is okay, that your cortisol levels are okay, because all of those can have an impact. But let's say that you have food cravings, right? And so I always tell my client, listen, you are going to have food cravings initially. There is an underlying root cause to the sugar cravings or whatever cravings that you have. There is an underlying root cause to that. However, it's going to take some time to heal those sugar cravings. And so in about 4 weeks, it's not going to be an issue because you're not going to have those sugar cravings. However, what are you going to do between now and
And
those
four
4 weeks?
weeks.
Exactly. Because you're going to have to show up for yourself. And so you're going to have to deal with those food cravings. It's going to come right in front of your face. And the question is, how are you going to go about that? Right? And so it's about really being very self aware of what your weaknesses are, what things you think are going to come, just being very prepared, right? Before you start this journey, what have you been suppressing? What are your weaknesses? What do you have to be prepared for? And really preparing yourself for that journey is going to make it's going to be so different if you actually prepare than if you don't prepare, because what can happen is that if you don't prepare for that journey and you're not ready for it, then those sugar cravings are going to come and you're going to just head
Yeah.
onto the fridge and get whatever is there, unhealthy food or processed food, whatever it is. But if you prepare for it and if you're aware that it will come, and it's okay, you're not the only one, but you're going to get through it,
It
then the
won't come in
journey
that
becomes so much
second, but
easier.
it takes some time. As you said, like maybe 4 weeks, maybe a little bit longer. So
It
I
does
think
take some time, and you have to be patient with yourself.
I
And
think
practicing a lot of self-love and self-care as well is just so important in treating your body like a temple. Just really changing your self-image. I think that's
yeah.
all. It's all about changing your identity, because if you change your identity, then you're going to start acting and behaving like that person that you want to become.
Yeah, I would also say, like, if you have the mindset of I really love myself, and the person that loves herself will, of course, go through all these things, even though it is difficult because you want to have a healthier body. You want to avoid the sugar cravings that are really not really good for your body. I mean, sometimes I hear,
Absolutely.
like, live a, one of my friends, she would say, like, live a little, just, eat this or drink that, whatever. It's not that I'm not eating or drinking it. I'm actually quiet, peaceful person with myself around that food, that I would just eat it when I want. But I would also think, like, at this moment, I'm good because my body had enough.
Exactly. It's being very self-aware.
Yeah.
Very self-aware. It always comes down to self-awareness.
But I could say in the past, I think, in my 20s, I was a lot like, this is not healthy, that's not healthy, don't eat the chocolate cake, don't do this, don't do that. Or like, I need to go to the gym 5, 6 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
But now, if I've already gone 3, 4 times and I feel on a Sunday morning like, I think my body needs a rest. I
Exactly.
allow myself because I love myself. I need a rest. But I used to push through. No, go. For what?
There's a fine line between taking care of yourself, but then also listening to your
Yeah.
body. Because if we fully listen to our body, and if we forget about the foundation, then you could sit all day on the sofa and eat crisps, right? So it's about being very self-aware, knowing what's best for you, but also listening to your body.
Yeah. Cool. Very nice. So, how about meditation? Like, you also, teach meditation in your practice. That's also what you recommend. You have meditations in Synergized. Um, how do meditation prepare us to experience more joy? And it's very weird I'm asking this because I'm meditating every day. I know it, but I of course want that my listener and watcher also knows this. Like, what could that do with us, meditation?
I think meditation is just so crucial to every person's life, because if you're not meditating, you're not really clearing your mind, you're not connecting with yourself. And if you don't connect with yourself, if you don't connect with God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, then you just kind of lose purpose. And if we take the example of health, let's say, right? I've seen meditation to be transformational in so many different ways. Number one, it lowers your stress levels so much. I mean, if you compare, how you feel before your meditation to how you feel after your meditation, you can tell that you feel way more relaxed, and
Mm-hmm.
your body heals in that state, in the parasympathetic state. Your body does not heal in the sympathetic state. It just can't. It's not in homeostasis. It's not going to heal. It's not time to rest and digest, to heal and repair. It's time to run away from the wild animal that is chasing you. And so I've just found it to be very powerful with relaxation, to shifting your body more into a parasympathetic state. However, if you do the right kind of meditations as well, if you don't do just the silent ones, but you do guided ones that were designed to really get to really rewire your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
If you maintain that throughout the day, then now
Maintaining.
maintaining that state throughout the day, then you are practicing self regulation. Because if you meditate in the morning and then you get up out of the meditation and then you forget about that and you react throughout the day to whatever, to trivial things, right? Because it's not about the big things, it's about the
Mm-hmm.
small things. It's
Exactly.
about the small things.
Someone in the at the line in the supermarket, or I don't
Exactly.
know, when you
Trivial
walk
things.
on the street, your colleague, your coworker, your mom that calls you, or whoever.
Absolutely. And that is like having the healthiest breakfast in the world. and then eating junk food the entire day. And so it's about, if you're able to maintain that state, then you're capable of staying away from that fight or flight state throughout the day, and maintaining that parasympathetic state throughout the day, and allowing the body to heal. And then there's also the element of manifestation, right? And so if you are going through any sort of health conditions, and if you are doing a lot of visualization work, and visualizing and practicing and feeling what it feels like to be the healthiest version of yourself, and you're going to start to gain momentum, and you're going to start to get closer and closer and closer to that healthiest version of yourself. And one day you're going to wake up, and you're going to be like that person that you've been meditating on for so long. I've seen it on myself.
Mhm.
I've seen it in so many people around me, and I know that it's not woo woo. It's, it's physics. If you study Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, you
Quantum.
quantum physics, you understand that there's nothing to believe. It's pure science, and it's the reality.
Now we have both experienced it together in
Yes, we have, and it's
in
been
San
so
Diego. It
fun.
was, yeah, we met in San Diego in May and April this year. So, I actually want to give an example of the meditation part, and also, like you said, like it's maintaining. That's really important, and you will see on the long run, you will see changes. You will feel the momentum. So, for example, when I start meditating, let's say you have a graph. If I don't want to meditate, because I have days that I don't want to meditate, I'm just starting like, I don't want it. No, why am I sitting
I
here?
have
I
those
need to
days
brush my
too.
teeth. I need to go here. Oh my God, I need to get my bike, whatever it's called. I just keep being here, 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 here. And then I stay, and then boom, something happens. I don't know when, but it happens. And then I'm finished with my meditation. Then I'm a totally different person compared to the person that started the meditation. And it's the same with when I, set intentions about something, and I keep meditating every single day about it. So the next day, if I say the next day, yeah, I meditated on it, but it didn't work out, I fell back to the old self. Then I go again next day, I go again next day, I go again next day, I go again. Then I'm like, whoa, I'm a changed person without even realizing. It happens
Absolutely. And
because
it's
you,
not, as you mentioned, it's not a glamorous experience. You're going to go
no,
through ups and
not
downs.
at
And that's the point.
all.
You're moving forwards, and that's what
No,
matters.
not at all. So, actually, I have one more last question. It's about how do we feel whole, worthy, and complete?
So, the first thing I would say is to understand that you're not going to go from complete lack and frustration to complete bliss and wholeness and joy overnight. It is a process, it is a journey, and it will take time. But as long as you show up for yourself every single day and you put the work every single day, you're going to get there. And it's never ending. You're never going to get to that place of absolute bliss, but you're going to get to a place very close to that. And if you continue working and putting the work and moving forwards, you're going to get closer and closer and closer to that. And so, for the listener really that really wants somewhere to get started, I would first say focus on gratitude.
Hmm.
If you focus on gratitude, that is the easiest way, the easiest route to get there. So instead of focusing on what's not working or what's not going well, how about focusing on what's working? How about focusing on everything in your life that's working well? Focusing on the systems of your body, on the organs of your body that are working for you without you asking, your heart beating for you 24/7, your senses, the food that you have in your fridge. So many people don't have the luxury of that. The fact that we live in a world that there's no, well, there is some war, but it's not as intense as it used to be years and years ago. That you have freedom to do whatever you want. these things are things that you can tap into and be grateful for. And if you tap into gratitude, into that energy, everything shifts into your
Yeah.
life. And it's what I mentioned, you start to gain momentum.
Yeah.
And if you don't disconnect from it, you're going so quickly and you are going to feel so whole, so complete, and just so fulfilled and so joyful.
So one of my biggest takeaway here is actually maintaining this state of being
Mm-hmm.
during your day. So now I'm gonna go to the last 6. You can answer these questions only with one word or one sentence. You can try. So
Okay.
number 1, how do you look after your health?
By practicing what I preach. If that's one sentence, by practicing what I preach.
What is the thing you do when you are stressed out?
I would say 3 things. Not all 3 things, but I would choose one of those. It would be either going for a walk, going for a workout, or meditation.
How do you train your mind?
Meditation, obviously.
What is your purpose in life?
I think my purpose will change, but at the moment, is definitely helping people become the healthiest version of themselves.
What would you like to leave the world?
What do you mean? Like if I left?
Yeah. What do you like to leave? You know, some people like to leave their kids. Some people like to leave some money for charities. What is
I
yours?
think I would like to leave the formula to heal.
The formula to heal. I like that a lot. So, and the last one. So, the Bridger podcast is taking the listener on a bridge where they can learn, practice, evolve, and transform. So, if you could take the listener on a bridge, where would that be?
To the Health Formula Show, which I just launched today. My
Oh, Health Formula Show
The Health
podcast?
Formula Show podcast. It's on Spotify and on iTunes.
Oh, nice. And you launched it today.
Yes.
Cool. Where can people find you more, Paula? Like if they say like I'm so interested in learning more, in working with her, what should they do? I know you have a lot of following on Instagram and the website, but can you just say them, please?
Sure. So you can find me at synergized.uk. That's my website. My membership is synergizednutrition.com, or you can find me on Instagram, which is synergizeduk. And then, of course, my podcast, The Health Formula Show.
Oh, so nice. I'm so thankful and grateful that you came on the show. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much.
I'm so grateful for you and for the opportunity. Thank you so much, darling.